Hey everybody, it's Jax again from your Popcorn Review podcast. Today's gonna be my episode 99. It's gonna be about a movie this time around, Mandalorian and Grogu. Personally, I'm a big Star Wars fan. Watch everything from the trilogy movies to the one-off spin-offs, Rogue One, the new Disney trilogy. I watched The Acolyte. Even though people hated that, I thought it was okay. I get why they didn't like it, but The Mandalorian has always been a favorite in my household. Even people in my house who do not like Star Wars actually like the show. So, it was nice to see that I don't know if they canceled the show personally. I think that I did hear about they're going to cancel the show because they're going into the movie world now. But it made sense they were building up that world of the Mandalorian and also had Grogu since day one, pretty much introduced into that storyline. So if you haven't watched The Mandalorian, it is on Disney Plus. I think it's like 3 or 4 seasons, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong, but I will say it's a great show. It's a little bit repetitive, personally, because he's always on a mission trying to track someone down. Um, but with that show, it actually introduced a lot of people. It introduced Ezra, Ahsoka, Bo-Katan. It involved a lot of people that we've seen in the Clone Wars and all the different kind of cartoons that Star Wars did with either Disney or Cartoon Network, if you remember the ones from Cartoon Network. But definitely a great show. This is just a continuation of Mando and Grogu's story, and it starts off pretty much right away. There's a battle, an amazing, I guess, firefight, I would say. Mandalorian and Grogu are definitely a team to be scared of. The Mandalorians are raised to be pretty much the best of the best fighter out there. They're like second to just the Jedi, if anything. But great movie, great special effects. This also introduced the Hutts again. Showed the twins of Jabba or no, sorry, the brother and sister of Jabba the Hutt, the twins, and his son. His son was ripped. He was jacked. He was like a gladiator in a stadium. So actually pretty funny to see personally. He's a big focal point of this story. It just shows you the difference, from you have the Hutts who were kind of like a crime boss syndicate or a crime family, and they were just like sloths, they were fat, lazy slugs, didn't do much. They just pretty much instilled fear into everyone. But the son is completely different. Jabba the Hutt's son wanted to be his own man, wanted to make his own life in the world, and he became a gladiator. And like I said, he was jacked, he was ripped, he was a fighter. It's crazy too, because as crazy as the Hutts are, his son is completely different. Yes, he's like I said, he can fight his ass off. He was wielding 2 battle axes in battle, but he was a very soft-spoken individual. He was very nice to Mando, fed Grogu, pet him on the head, said, "Hey, make sure you take after help your dad." So it was just crazy to me that it showed you 2 different perspectives. One person's like, "Nah, I'm gonna rule the world. I'm gonna have everyone in this town under my thumb," and his son's like, "No, I'm nothing like my dad," and I can definitely understand that. Now, don't want to go too into it because I don't know who watched it, but the special effects in this movie are great. I will say though, it shows you how Mando is technically Grogu's dad, the way he's acting. He's always trying to protect him. He's always trying to make sure he does the right thing. And Grogu is definitely that rebellious kid, or I'm assuming he's a kid, even though that he's a child. They say he can be a lot older. They just don't know because Yoda was like thousands of years old when he was part of the Jedi Order. So it's possible that even though Grogu is um a child-sized individual, he can be already like 50 to 100 years old plus. Now, during the movie, though, Grogu actually shows his independence, shows that he's able to wield the Force more. He's getting stronger with the Force. There was a time that during the show, if you haven't seen it, he was working with Ahsoka on his powers, so that definitely showed that he was building on it. But he hasn't been with her for a while. He's been with Mando the whole time. So I don't know if he's ever going to get a lightsaber, but he is carrying armor like the Mandalorian, so he has a big armor plate on his body. He's kind of small. So is the size of I would say a soccer ball. If you flatten the soccer ball, it's about that size. He wears it on his chest. And he's got like mailing chest or mailing armor that a knight would use underneath, and then he's got the metal plate on top. He's still wearing a Beskar, how the Mandalorians wear. So it just shows you that he's definitely leaning into the being a part of the Mandalorian culture. But he's also using the Force powers during the movie. There was a time when he saved Mando, so I will say that he does save his father Mando, or who he looks at to be his father, and he uses the Force to do so. He moves Mando's body with the Force. He builds things around Mando to be hidden, and he saves his dad pretty much. So personally, I thought it was a great movie. Rotten Tomato gave it a bad score. I heard that they're actually pulling it out of the movie theaters a little bit earlier than they wanted. It's only been in the theaters for maybe about a month. We caught it late this past weekend. I'm gonna say around 9 o'clock, and the theater only had about 20 people in there. And it was one of the smaller theaters, but still about 20 people in there for about a theater about 50. That's not a lot of people. Um, I'm a Star Wars fan, like I mentioned, so I definitely enjoyed this movie. But I can also see how some people didn't like the movie. One, if you don't watch The Mandalorian, you kind of don't know what the lore is or what the story is about. Second, this movie could have just been a direct to movie for Disney Plus. Personally, it could have been there. Or it could have been like a two-part episode for The Mandalorian and Grogu. They could have continued the story, instead of just being called Mandalorian, it could have been The Mandalorian and Grogu and did a couple episodes on Disney Plus based off of this story. That's just my opinion. I liked it. I'll give it about an 8.5, 8.5. So like I said, I enjoy Star Wars, so I might be a little biased personally, but the hate that this movie's getting, I mean, had special effects, had stormtroopers, it had the Huts, it had crime syndicates, it had Grogu, it had people from it had Zeb in there, it had the Republic in there. Like it had so many different aspects of the Star Wars lore. I don't understand how people hated this movie. Like that's all I heard online was how this was a waste of time. I went to that movie theater and I just felt like I didn't. Some people saying they fell asleep in it. I'm like, how in the hell did you fall asleep with all those damn fights in that movie? All those damn blasters, all the robots being exploded, or the robots firing bombs or grenades and stuff. How did you fall asleep during that movie? If you fell asleep during that movie, you probably stayed up for 72 hours and didn't sleep for days and then went to go watch that movie. Like seriously, there's no way possible. Like just the intro to the movie alone, if you like Star Wars, you're in once you see that intro. Once you see those yellow words come down, boom, you're into it. Like I don't understand how. Like again, I understand how people are upset how the story wasn't great. I liked it personally. Especially around Father's Day. It was really nice to see. It showed like a father and son technically working together. Showed Grogu being independent, like I mentioned, showed Mando being a father figure. And just both of them taking accepting that they're in that relationship technically. And can't wait to see what they do next. I don't know if they're gonna go back and do another season. Personally, I don't think so. It's possible they could just continue, maybe do a trilogy movie, uh, a couple more, another like maybe a filler movie or something. And then at the end, Grogu gets his lightsaber, works with Ahsoka, just throwing ideas out there. Really don't know what they're going to do with it, but I would like to see what else comes next. Whether it's a TV show, maybe one season, 8 episodes, just to show him getting his lightsaber, becoming a Jedi, or maybe starting the Jedi Order over with Grogu. Could definitely see that happening. Or maybe a movie. It doesn't make sense that Grogu is technically so young, at least that's how they're portraying him, that he's not going to do nothing in the future in the Star Wars world or genre. So can't wait to see what happens, guys. Again, 8.5 for me. It's on its way out of the theater, so I would say maybe in about 2 to 3 weeks, it's probably going to be on Disney Plus or something like to that effect. But great movie. If you like Star Wars, definitely recommend it. Um, if you're not into The Mandalorian, I would say if you're thinking about watching it, watch the TV show first. If you can't get through the TV show, you may not like to see the movie itself because you're not going to know what's going on or who the characters are. But great movie. Guys, thanks for watching. Have a great one.